Before we call the meeting to order, I am going to ask Colonel Simmons, our wing commander at Vance Air Force Base, to give us an update on the airplane that crashed last week.
Mr. Mayor,
Colonel Simmons.
Mayor, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Thanks for the opportunity to address everyone. As everyone knows, on Friday afternoon, about 1:30 in the afternoon, we lost a T-38. It crashed about 70 miles northwest of here near a town called Chester. Single pilot aboard the airplane. The bad news is we lost an airplane. The great and fantastic news is that we didn't lose an airman. He, essentially parachuted and landed safely. Was with first responders within about 16 minutes of the incident. Walked away from the incident. The first responders from both the town, from the county, the state, even from Vance Air Force Base, if you wanted to write a textbook of how you're supposed to react to something like this, I don't know that we could have done it better. As we proceed, we've stood up the interim safety board who has secured the scene. Right now you have about 16 individuals from Vance Air Force Base securing the scene right now in conjunction with the local authorities. The interim safety board has started to collect most of the materials associated with the safety investigation, and tomorrow morning the actual safety board will convene and start their work. Generally, that's a 30-day process to be able to try to get at that. We'll find out exactly what happened and do everything we can to not let this happen again. But on behalf of everybody who wears a uniform, anybody that's a contractor, anybody associated with the base, I believe that the council, commissioners, and the town should be Vance proud of what they've pulled off so far. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel. Let's call the meeting to order. We are all present except for Tammy, and I assume Tammy will be absent this evening. The invocation this evening will be given by Ray Rose with the Enid Church of Christ. Ray Rose, are you here? Great. And the flag salute after that. Everett, would you lead us in the flag salute after the invocation? If you would, use the mic here next to the fire chief.
Let's pray. Our gracious God and our Father, it is through Jesus we approach you. We thank you for your love, your grace, all the bounty that you bestow upon us, God. We are such a blessed people. We live in a blessed nation, and we give you all the thanks for that. Pray your blessing tonight on this council, God. I pray that you would give them wisdom from heaven. Your word teaches that if we lack wisdom, let us go to you, and you promise that you will give it. And so I pray that you will bestow wisdom tonight on this council, God. I know that they have an awesome responsibility, and they make decisions that affect all of the citizens in Enid. And so I know they don't take that responsibility lightly, God. And so I just pray that you bless them and give them the wisdom they need to make the decisions that are going to be best for this community. We just thank you for your love. We're thankful, Father, that pilot was not injured and that crashed the other day. We're very thankful for that, God. And we just thank you for all your goodness. And it's through Jesus we pray. Amen.
Thank you.
All right.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 4, consider approval of the minutes of the regular commission meeting of August the 7th, 2018.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Jonathan, second by Ron. Please cast your vote. Motion carries 6-0. Item 5, awards, presentations, proclamations, and organizational business. Item 5.1, present the pet available for adoption at the city animal shelter. I think we heard the pet a while ago.
Hi. Tonight we have a black and tan mixed Chihuahua. He's long-legged mixed Chihuahua, and he's a male. We've named him Sweet William. He's really a nice dog, and he's really lovable. And he's up for adoption out at the city animal shelter. And anybody who'd like to give him a home, come out and visit him. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 5.2, present the proclamation to Ken. Steve?
Join me, Mayor, if you would, please. Mayor and Commissioners, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Ken Mendenhall, would you join? Ken, would you come on up here and join the mayor at this time? Let me hand this, Mayor, I'm going to hand this fancy document.
We're going to let you listen. We're going to give this to you.
Ken Mendenhall from Enid has brought his entourage with former mayor and his wife. Thank you for being here. The Francis are here. Ladies and gentlemen, and Dana, thank you for putting that picture on the screen. Recently, Ken Mendenhall, a graduate of Enid High School, moved here in his sophomore year in high school, I believe, played on 2 state championship teams at Enid High School, so he's a full-blown Plainsman, if you will, was recently inducted into the Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame. And I was looking at the list of people who are in the Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame, and one of them happens to be my second cousin, which is Jim Thorpe. There's also a guy named Mickey Mantle in the Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame. There's also an Enid resident, Don Haskins, in the Sports Hall of Fame. Johnny Bench is in the Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame, and also Bud Wilkinson. And there's some OSU people in the Hall of Fame, too. There's a couple. There's a couple. Okay. I think one is to the far left. That was, what was his name, Ken? Robin Ventura. Oklahoma State was inducted into the Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame. So Dana, thank you for putting that photo up. That was from a couple Mondays ago that Ken was inducted into the Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame. And so we want to say congratulations, and the mayor wanted to make sure that you receive this acknowledgement from the city of Enid and with this proclamation. Whereas Ken Mendenhall was born in Stillwater, Oklahoma, raised in Pahuska, and moved to Enid prior to his sophomore year in high school, the Enid Plainsman won the state championships his junior and senior seasons. And whereas Ken was named the Oklahoma Lineman of the Year and high school All-American following his senior season in Enid, and went on to become a 3-year starter at the University of Oklahoma. And whereas after his distinguished career at OU, where Ken was a 3-year starter and named All Big 8 Conference, Ken Mendenhall was drafted in the 5th round of the 1970 National Football League draft. Ken started 118 consecutive games at center from 1973 to 1980, setting a Baltimore Colts franchise record that stood for 25 years. It's broken by Peyton Manning, right? Well, Peyton Manning, you know. Good company. Whereas in 1987, after football and a brief career in the oil industry, Ken Mendenhall joined Search Ministries as executive director. Search Ministry is a marketplace ministry primarily to business and to professional people that provides answers to life and God's questions. Now, therefore, Bill Shuey, Mayor of Enid, Oklahoma, proclaims August 21st, 2018 as Ken Mendenhall Day, and we all congratulate Ken on his recent induction into the 2018 Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame. Ken, we're proud of you. You're doing a great representation for Enid, and we appreciate what you're doing for us. And Mayor has the proclamation, and feel free to offer any comments.
Thank you. At the induction 3 weeks ago now, I talked about how I believe that my moving to Enid was not a coincidence, it was providential. God's hand was on that. The 2 greatest things that I talked about that evening were that Enid had a great high school football program with great players and great coaches. Some of the best coaches I had were actually in high school, even including NFL and college experience. So that was a wonderful thing. The other thing that I talked about is that the best thing about Enid, Oklahoma was Marlene Fitzgerald, who is my wife, who I not initially convinced that we ought to spend the rest of our lives together, but eventually did. And so those two things from this city made all the difference in the world, and my life would have been much different had I not moved to Enid and been a part of those championship teams. And championship teams come with not just one good player, but with lots of good players. So I was the beneficiary in terms of recognition of a lot of other achievements by a lot of other people. So thank you so much. This is very humbling, and I'm very honored.
And Mr. Gilbert and Commissioners, that's all for the presentations this evening. Thank you.
Item 5.3, consider appointment to the Special Sales Tax Oversight Committee.
Yes, Scott Cordell has been filling that role from Ward 4. He filled an unexpired term, which is expired, and Commissioner Waddell wants to reappoint him in Ward 4. I don't know if Scott's here tonight. If he is, he's welcome to speak. Okay.
I have an at-large appointment.
The mayor has an at-large appointment. Carol, can he do that now, or do we need to come back at the next commission meeting, since it's not specifically, the appointment is on there as an agenda item, but we didn't write it up that way because we didn't know at the time of posting the agenda.
Well, I think we should wait till the next meeting.
Let's wait till 6th. Mayor.
Very good.
So right now you have the Ward 4 appointment to special sales tax to consider.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Ron, second by Derwin. Please cast your vote. Motion carries 6-0. Item 5.4, consider an appointment to the Call Lake Funding Oversight Committee.
This one, Dan Randall had served the initial one-year term when this committee was set up. It had staggered terms of 1, 2, and 3-year terms. Dan Randall served a one-year term, has expired. The mayor has recommended reappointing him. And I don't see him here tonight, but he's a good selection for that, so good.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Ron.
Second.
Second by Jonathan. I was going to call you by the wrong name.
I could feel it coming.
I could tell by your grin. Please cast your vote. Motion carries 6-0. Keeping you on your toes. Item 6, administration. Item 6.1, consider a resolution of the City of Enid, Oklahoma, the city, approving action taken by the Enid Municipal Authority, the authority, authorizing issuance, sale, and delivery of the authority's Series 2018B promissory note to Oklahoma Water Resources Board.
Nate?
Rat-
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Ratifying and confirming a lease agreement, ratifying and confirming sales tax agreement pertaining to a year-to-year pledge of certain sales tax revenue, declaring an emergency and containing other provisions related thereto. Gerald.
Nate, you missed your cue to be walking to the podium. Oh, you're gonna have John? Okay.
John Wolf.
Whoever sits closest to the aisle gets to speak, so I feel sorry for you guys because it's me speaking tonight. This is, as mentioned earlier in the work session today, this is the next step. This resolution actually ratifies the resolution to be approved once we get to the Enid Municipal Authority in the incurrence of the indebtedness on the FAP loan that the Enid Municipal Authority is looking at taking out with the Oklahoma Water Resources Board. The Water Resources Board they have set a sale of next Wednesday to sell bonds, the proceeds of which will be used to provide to Enid in their FAP loan, which is a part of two separate loans that are going to be, the proceeds of which are going to be used to fund your engineering, planning, so forth, other costs outside of construction over the next 3 years. This resolution authorizes the incurrence of the indebtedness. It also sets the parameters, so when the bonds are sold next week, the Oklahoma Water Resources Board can proceed and then come back to you informally with the final interest rates. The rates that I had been providing the commission and the authority over the last 6 months on this particular loan, this is a 30-year fixed interest rate loan, have stayed in the same area that I had, as far as interest rate, average rate that I had been providing to you at somewhere between a 3.85 to a 4%. We're still in that same market, so knock on wood, hopefully we have at least the market we have today, if not better, next Wednesday. Be glad to answer any questions. Once again, this is the resolution essentially ratifying the action of the authority that they'll take here shortly.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion Ben, second by Jonathan. Further discussion? Please cast your vote. Motion carries 6-0.
Thanks.
Thank you, John. Item 6.2, an ordinance amending the Enid Municipal.
Excuse me, we have an emergency on the resolution.
You're right. We have an
It needs-
emergency.
5 affirmative votes to be effective.
I'll move to declare an emergency.
Motion by Ben.
Second.
Jonathan.
George, that's Jonathan.
Make it George. Keep him awake. Please cast your vote. The emergency carries 6-0. Item 6.2, an ordinance amending the Enid Municipal Code 2014, Title I, Administration, Chapter 15, Special Events, Section 1-15-9, Alcoholic Beverages, to remove requirement of city license and clarify intent. Title V, Public Safety, Chapter 5, General Offenses, Article H, Drug and Alcohol-Related Offenses, Section 5-5H-2, to update definitions and allow wine and beer in city parks. Title VI, Motor Vehicles and Traffic, Chapter 7, General Miscellaneous Rules, Section 6-7-13, to update definitions, providing for repealer, savings clause, severability, codification, and effective date. Carol.
To consider the ordinance that you have tonight, you need to have a motion to remove the ordinance from the table.
So moved.
Motion
Second.
by Ron,
Second.
second by George, to remove from the table. Please cast your vote. Motion carries 6-0. Carol?
This is identical to the ordinance that was discussed and tabled at the August 7th, 2018 meeting, except that based on the discussion, but I'm not sure this is exactly what you wanted, I have provided an exception. You've got your consumption of alcohol. It is, you shouldn't consume it or possess alcohol in any street, alley, or other public place, except the first exception, which exists in the ordinance as it is now, is the special event ordinance. And then the next one, the new one, is wine and beer in city-owned parks. I checked to make sure, and there is a prohibition of the consumption of spirits on streets, sidewalks, and public places, but there is no similar prohibition against beer and wine. So if you wanted to allow people to have a picnic basket and have a bottle of wine or beer, you can pass this ordinance the way it is. If you don't want that, then we would just say, pass a motion, but delete the second exception.
Move to approve as written.
Second.
Motion by Ben, second by Ron. Further discussion? Please cast your vote. Motion carries 4-2. Item 6.3, an ordinance of the City of Enid, Oklahoma, the city, repealing ordinance number 2005-12 and terminating increment district number 1, City of Enid, Advanced Food, TIF, providing for the disposition of funds held in the apportionment fund, providing for severability and containing other provisions related thereto.
See, I was right on my cue this time.
Nate?
Nate Ellis, Public Finance Law Group. I contacted Gerald a few weeks back and thought while we were up here approving one of these loans might be a good opportunity to take a moment to celebrate the successful end of one of the tax increment financing districts. This was actually the very first TIF district that was done by the City of Enid, as well as by myself. So our firm was actually a different name. We were still the Fagan, Brown, Bush, Tenney and Kaiser law firm way back when in 2005 when we did this project.
Was there any money left over?
I think I think there's about $5,000 or so left in the bank from this, but there are some tax revenues that are going to dribble in, some exempt manufacturing money that comes later than taxes are due. So basically, the purpose of this ordinance is to kind of create a final resolution to make sure that this leftover money, it's just going to get distributed back to the taxing entities, which is what the Local Development Act contemplates to happen anyways. So as that money comes in, we'll kind of coordinate with the county and effectively take it out of the city's hands. The city won't have to deal with it anymore. But as you'll recall, under the project plan, we did a $6.25 million financing to Advanced Foods as an incentive. The Enterprise Drive was constructed, and then part of it was an incentive to Advanced Foods. And the contemplation under the project plan was that they'd invest about $60 million plus, and create 300 to 500 new jobs out there. Well, they ended up investing at least $140 million, best as we can tell, within the TIF district. And I think the number is maybe closer to 800 jobs, but it's kind of hard. It's kind of difficult to determine. So for purposes of the ordinance, I think you have a blank in your draft there. We put $140 million and we put over 500 new jobs. But obviously, it's been a tremendous success. It was scheduled to go all the way out to 2023. It's been paid off 5 years faster than was projected. And so what that means is there's about $1.5 million of new ad valorem tax revenue that's being paid every year, and that's now going to start going to the taxing jurisdictions. So again, very much a win for the community with now Advanced Pierre Foods, I believe is their formal name, or have they?
Tyson.
Is it now Tyson? Okay, I knew it had changed hands several times. So anyways, obviously a successful project, continues to be an economic engine for the community, and now a significant source of additional revenue to all the other taxing jurisdictions.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Ben, second by Ron. Further discussion? Please cast your vote. Motion carries 6-0. Item 6.4, consider the renaming of the park at 5th and Main to be John Haskins Park, based on the proposal for the Park Board meeting of August the 14th.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion by George, second by Ron.
What is it now? I mean, it's been Don Haskins's, I mean, it's
The sign says-
informally Don Haskins.
This is making it legal.
Sure, but what is it
Don Haskins
officially
Park.
called?
I'm not sure we know officially what it's called.
It was
Maybe it's
originally part of Government Springs Park.
Okay, gotcha, all right. I know, sure. That's easy.
To me, it's been known as the tennis courts at St. Mary's Hospital.
That's what it should have.
This makes it right.
Okay.
Who made the motion?
I did.
George? Ron, second. Please cast your vote. Motion carries 6-0. Item 5, consider a resolution supporting continued participation in Main Street programs.
Move to approve.
Motion by Ben to approve. Second by Derwin. Please cast your vote. Motion carries 6-0. Item 7, consent items.
Move to approve.
Motion by Ben to approve.
Second.
Second by George. Please cast your vote. Motion carries 6-0. Item 8, we will now recess to convene as the Enid Municipal Authority. Item 9, all of the trustees of the Enid Municipal Authority regular meeting are in attendance except for Tammy, who is absent. Item 10, the Enid Municipal Authority regular meeting is now in session. Item 10.1, consider a resolution authorizing a loan from the Oklahoma Water Resources Board in the total aggregate principal amount of not to exceed $46,500,000, approving the issuance of its Series 2018B promissory note to Oklahoma Water Resources Board in the total aggregate principal amount of not to exceed $46,500,000 secured by a pledge of revenues and authorizing its execution.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion by Ron,
Second.
second by Derwin. Further discussion? Sorry, Nate. Please cast your vote. Motion carries 6-0. Item 10.2, approval of claims in the amount of $176,501.71.
Got to get ahead of them.
Is that you, George?
Move to approve, yeah.
Second.
Motion by George, second by Ben. Please cast your vote. Motion carries 6-0. Item 11, we will now adjourn to convene as the Enid Economic Development Authority. Item 12, all of the trustees of the Enid Economic Development Authority regular meeting are in attendance except for Tammy. Tammy is absent this evening. I lost my place. Item 13, the Enid Economic Development Authority regular meeting is now in session. Item 13.1, approval of claims in the amount of $178,169.37.
So moved.
Motion by Jonathan, second by George. Please cast your vote. Motion carries 6-0. Item 14 will now adjourn to convene as the Enid Public Transportation Authority. Item 15, all of the trustees of the Enid Public Transportation Authority regular meeting are in attendance except for Tammy. Tammy is absent. Item 16, the Enid Public Transportation Authority regular meeting is now in session. Item 16.1, consider a resolution authorizing the chairman of the Enid Public Transportation Authority to execute an agreement between the Enid Department of Transportation, ODOT, and the Enid Public Transportation Authority for Public Transit revolving funds.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Ben, second by Jonathan. Please cast your vote. Motion carries 6-0. Item 16.2, a resolution authorizing the execution of the agreement between the Oklahoma Department of Transportation, Transit Programs Division, and the Enid Public Transportation Authority for a grant under 49 U.S.C. Section 5311 Non-Urbanized Area Formula Program.
Move to approve.
Motion by Ben,
Second.
second by Jonathan. Please cast your vote. Motion carries 6-0. Item 16.3, resolution authorizing the Enid Public Transportation Authority to accept the contract with the Oklahoma Department of Transportation, Transit Programs Division for a grant under 49 U.S.C. Section 5339B, Bus and Bus Facilities Grant Program for funds during the 2018 fiscal program year.
Approve.
Motion by George,
Second.
Second by Ben. Please cast your vote. Motion carries 6-0. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Glenda.
Item 16.4, approval of claims in the amount of $3,481.35.
So moved.
Motion by Jonathan.
Second.
Second by Gerwin. Please cast your vote. Motion carries 6-0. Item 17, we will now adjourn to reconvene as the Enid City Commission. Item 18, public comments. We have one person signed up. Diane.
Diane Levesque, 1324 West Oak Avenue. Also, as I signed in the sign-up sheet, the Monarch Larvae Monitoring Project Site 2519, and that includes 1308 West Oak, which is Monarch Watch Way Station 15600. But before I get to what I intended to talk about that, I wanted to address the sidewalk on commercial property thing, and I've already, Mr. Jansen already knows that I'm going to say that when you're talking about public sidewalks, we're talking about public safety, and of course ACA or ADA compliance, but on commercial property of a large size, there are certain places where the public has no business. I just wanted to say for the record that sidewalks shouldn't be required where the public has no business. And that too is in the public safety interest. Dead tree, safety, when it's got limbs. But I wanted to point out, as someone who operates a Monarch Way station and a agricultural, shall we say, operation, dead trees can be converted into wonderful things like gnome houses as long as the limbs are removed. I've seen sculptures made out of them, so I would beg on behalf of the people who have turned their dead trees and stumps into works of art and yard decorations to have some lenience with those people. I love them. Now, back to monarchs. This is a heavy season. I do believe that I mentioned that before. We are currently still under siege of a butterfly invasion, but we're also killing thousands of them by mowing code ordinances and that. And what I did just before coming in here was rescuing several from the property owned, I think, by Holdings. It's just north of my Monarch site. And I just beat the tractor by a little bit. But that's how you lose a lot of monarchs who are supposed to be going to Mexico. This is the time of year when they're laying the eggs for that last, what they call super generation. And everybody who takes out a tractor and mows kills thousands of them. And we're still getting fewer and fewer monarchs showing up in Mexico. So I wanted to make you all aware of that. And then finally, given that I've operated multiple lots, city lots, also checking several mailboxes, I wanted to bring to the attention a civil rights issue, possibly, with the police department. There was someone rifling through Way Station 15600's mailbox. I caught a picture of him. I sent in an anonymous tip, and that's the only way I know to contact the police, submitting a photograph. Well, I was talking to the neighbor across the street about some guy rifling through all the mailboxes. A cruiser showed up, and the officer wanted to know if we had seen a black man go by. I says, oh, I haven't, but I thought maybe there was a cruiser here looking into the mailbox rifling situation. The officer said, yeah, that's exactly what it is. And I says, well, I reported him as a Caucasian and I sent in the picture. And he says, oh, you did? In the verbal description of the culprit, I did say he had black hair. Now, something got lost in the translation, either by the dispatcher or the person hearing black hair and thinking black man. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 19, we are adjourned.
Thank you for joining us for the Enid City Commission meeting. All meetings are broadcast on local cable channel 12 and in high definition on channel 112. In addition, the council meeting is live streamed on the web at enidtv.org. If you have any questions or comments regarding this broadcast, please visit the City of Enid website at enid.org.